I'm Andy Humphrey with Heavenbound Aviation. We're the importer now for Aeroprakt. We've taken over for Dennis Long from Aeroprakt USA, so we're now bringing them into the country. We're doing the final assembly and passing them on to the customers. Heavenbound Aviation is based in Johnstown, Ohio, which is right in the middle of Ohio. We do a variety of things. We've come up through the ultralights. We've done a lot of different things. We do a lot of flight training. We train not only in the Aeroprakt, also Taylor crafts for tailwheel guys, sport pilot ratings. We've got a Quicksilver 2S for ultralight transition. So we do a variety of different things. We're Rotax certified as well, all the way through heavy and 912s and 2-strokes. I'm an A&P-IA, so we do a variety of maintenance as well, but not a whole lot of customer maintenance right now. We've focused on Aeroprakt and also flight training right now. Aeroprakt is coming right up on 25 years right now as a commercial production company. They built a variety of models. They started out in kit-built aircraft. They've even built twin-engine aircraft and various things, but in the United States right now, we're only doing the A22 and A32.
Which is a SLSA.
Which is an SLSA, or it can be experimental light sport.
How long has this been imported into the USA, this model?
This is going back into the late 90s now, so they really are more popular from about 2010 on, and the models have changed a little bit. So there was an L model originally that was not SLSA, and then the LS is all SLSA.
And which models are you currently importing?
We're importing the A22 and the A32, and they're all custom spec'd as far as, you know, there's a lot of options, custom panels. They're all built to order.
And what is the major difference between each model?
So the differences between the A22 and the 32, they have the same wing. Pretty much everything else is different. So the 32 will cruise at 130 miles an hour, where the 22 cruises at 100 miles an hour. They both stall right at 30 with flaps down, so there's no difference on the low end. They're using the same engine. The only difference is the streamlining of the 32. The fuselage is completely different. The tail group is different. The cowling is different. There's a lot of detailed changes.
Speaking of one of our sponsors,
what is powering this, and are there options with the engines?
Yeah, you can use the 912 UL, ULS, or IS. Nobody ever orders the UL, of course. It's either ULS or IS. Everybody wants the 100 horse. I'd say they're probably still a little bit more ULS than IS, but the IS seems to be really gaining popularity.
Is there any talk of maybe adding the 915 to the series in the future?
I don't think we'll see the 915 because it's going to take it out of light sport. You know, it's too fast. So unless the regulations change, then maybe we'll see it. The empty varies a little bit. This one right here is 738, and it's well equipped, so it's got the full Dynon package. We got the large tires, the autopilot, everything in it. So that's pretty typical. So we're just under 600 pounds on the useful load. If you were to spec it properly, you could get it down and actually get over 600 useful if you wanted, but everybody wants all the options, the autopilot and everything. So it's got 30 gallons of fuel.
So in flight, what are the parameters that you're flying with, both departure, landing, and cruise?
Typically we're seeing a VX at about 50, and we're seeing a VY at about 60. You know, again, it'll stall down to 30, so we can actually, like in a competition like this, fly an approach at about 35. And then, you know, you may need just a little power to break the descent, but it'll really land short. Dennis is out there pegging numbers right about 300 feet on landing distance from the scratch line to complete stop.
Okay, that's that pretty orange one down there.
Cruise on this, true airspeed 100 to 105. If you were to put wheel pants on it, keep it light, you might see 110 miles an hour. Now the A32, like I say, we're doing 130 on that one easily. With the injected engine, we're seeing 4.9 gallons an hour at 130, 2.9 at 100.
And what is the V&E?
V&E on the 32 is 140, and we're seeing 130 on the 22. What we're looking at here is the A32 model, and you'll see a lot of differences if you start looking close. You're going to see the whole tail cone is kind of rounded, where the other one is more of a boxy look. The doors are different. You're going to see a lot better sealing in the doors. The door latches are different. Another big difference, we don't have any tubes in the windscreen. The A22 does have structural tubing there. This one is actually 2 inches narrower, but you'd probably never notice if I hadn't told you. The seats are different. The 22, you'll see push rods for the ailerons that are right there kind of inhibiting the cargo bay, so we put a third door, and the other one is an option. But In the 22, you're just going to fold the seats forward to get to the cargo. So we've got lots of cargo room in it. This one is pre-rigged for a parachute. We do that on either model generally if we're ordering them in. That way a parachute can easily be installed. If you want to order it with the parachute, that's an option as well. It does add a little bit of weight. But in the 32, you'll see a cable-controlled ailerons instead of push rod. These are available with a straight stick, a Y stick, or yokes if you want yokes. So they're very customizable. A lot of people ask what we have on the landing gear. These are mud guards. All those do is protect the fuselage from rocks and mud. Most people get those if they're getting the Tundra tires. You can spec these with smaller tires and wheel pants and gain a little bit of speed if you're operating on improved surfaces, but this is really a popular backcountry airplane, so the Tundra tires are by far more popular.
So what is the construction of this aircraft?
This aircraft is primarily a metal aircraft. We do have some fabric on it. There's no structural composite though. You'll see some fabric on all the control surfaces, the underside of the wing, not the top, as well as the tail group has some fabric. On the 32, you'll notice it's got a full flying stabilator, so it's all balanced, flies really nice, it's very responsive, and it also is not at all trim hungry. The 22 takes a little bit more elevator trim when you put flaps in. This one you really never touch the trim once you have the speed set where you want it. They've got a really large rudder, so they handle crosswinds great, and they slip great if you're doing off-field operations, coming in over obstacles. You'll notice the tail differences. This one is nice rounded cone, more streamlined. I think it actually looks a little nicer as well. A lot of people wonder about the humps on the wing. That's the extended fuel tanks, which most people order. If you order 24-gallon fuel capacity, it's going to be flat across there. The 30-gallon capacity has those humps. And that's not a cover, that is actually the fuel tank itself.
I'm at the airport a lot more these days editing, and walking out of the FBO, out onto the ramp, it's bright. So I've been wearing my Flying Eyes eyewear a lot more these days. They're lightweight, extremely comfortable, flexible, and have micro-thin temples that slip under your headsets. You like saving money? Get 10% off right now by using the code EXPERIMENTAL. Check out the links below. We are partnering with great companies like Dynon Avionics at Dynon.com, Airtech Coatings at AirTechCoatings.com, Clemens Insurance at ClemensInsurance.net, The Aviators Clinic at AviatorsClinic.com, Diamond Doors at DiamondDoors.com, Flying Eyes at FlyingEyesOptics.com, Foxtrot 95 Calhoun County Airport at FlyFoxtrot95.com. Take a moment to go visit their websites at the links found below in the description of this video. And visit our website at ExperimentalAircraftChannel.com for events, our video library arranged in easy-to-find playlists on specific topics, affiliate products, aviation merchandise, and so much more.
So these have great big doors which give us great visibility and also easy access. Easiest way to get in is just back in, sit down, pull your feet in. They're very roomy. On the 32 model, we've got our throttle right here on the dash, which is a little bit different than a lot of airplanes, but it's actually really handy. It's just a very natural feel, very comfortable. The 22, you've got the throttle down here next to the seat, so both of them have dual throttles if you're running the stick configuration. If you're running a yoke configuration, of course you're going to have dual yokes and a single throttle in the center. But all your controls are in the center. We've got elevator trim down here. We also have ample leg room in these. This is a really roomy airplane. We've got a student in our flight school in the 22 who's 6'7" and fits comfortably.
Is the Dynon the standard option or most popular option?
It's definitely the most popular. We can do a Garmin panel, we can do steam gauges, but I think the Dynon is the best bang for the buck. It's considerably cheaper than Garmin. It's probably a little bit more customizable. If somebody wanted an IFR package in here, you'd probably maybe want to go with Garmin, so you could use a Garmin Navigator and everything would be seamless, but you can run a Garmin Navigator with the Dynon as well. One of the neat features that's available on the 22 is the third door for baggage. It's just got 3/4 turns on it. And we've got a hard floor in it. You can stuff all kinds of stuff back there. It's rated for 66-pound capacity.
I think it's pretty good coach when the football game.
The reason that was originally installed on the airplane was for handicap accessibility. They actually built a handicap accessible model that has an interconnect on the controls where the rudder pedals are not used. You can use it either way. You can take the linkage off and fly with rudder pedals. But they put this door in there so that a person in a wheelchair could easily turn around and put the wheelchair inside the airplane. So the A22 model, and this is difficult because it's always changing. It determines on the exchange rate with the euro primarily, but right now we're doing an A22 spec'd out with the Dynon and everything at about 125 to 130, right in that range. The euro right now is basically 1 to 1, so for reference. So it makes a big difference. You know, 6 months ago it was 1.5 or 1.15 to 1, so that's $15,000 difference in price. So that makes a huge difference. The factory doesn't change the prices very much, very often. It's generally the exchange rate that affects it. So right now is an awesome time to get into one. As far as lead times, everybody asks where these are made. These are made in Ukraine. And of course, we always get a reaction out of that. Boy, that's rough now that you're in a war. You know, and currently we're still in the middle of the war, depending on when you're watching the video, but it's not been a problem at all. The factory shut down for about 6 weeks and they went right back to work and they caught up and they're producing them faster than ever right now. I think the European market has gotten a little bit soft, which has allowed us to get more airplanes, so we're pretty excited about that side of it. But honestly, we're having no availability issues with the airplane except for the American-made components, which are on back order, unfortunately. On the A32, as far as pricing, we're typically seeing around 145 in that neighborhood, spec'd out the way everybody specs them with the Dynon and the ADS-B transponder, autopilot and everything. We often get asked, well, what does a stripped down model cost? And honestly, I don't know. We've never sold one. Nobody buys them stripped down. But if you're interested, we could do a quote for you. So to get in touch with us, you can contact Heavenbound Aviation. That website is heavenboundaviation.com. We're in Central Ohio. If you're closer to Dennis Long, he's in Searcy, Arkansas. And we have Lance Lehner out in Phoenix, Arizona. So we've got dealers hopefully fairly close to you.